Joining me now is NBC Chief White House Correspondent Peter Alexander, who will serve as moderator for Meet the Press today. Good morning, Peter. Thank you so much for being here.
Hi, Faye. Thanks for having us.
Well, the big political story this week, no doubt, that will be President Biden, former President Trump gearing up for the first debate of this campaign season Thursday, taking place right here in Atlanta. We're looking forward to welcoming the NBC News team here as well. But there have been some developments over the past few days. What have we learned there, Peter?
Yeah, no, there certainly have been a lot of developments specifically as it relates to the stakes for these two. Let's start with the vice presidential race, perhaps in particular right now. Donald Trump has been, according to our sources, 12 people wired into the process, speaking about 2 people individual that he's looking at as potential vice presidential picks. It's unclear how much impact the vice presidential pick would have in a race like this in the sort of Trump era. But we are told that he is eyeing 2 men, Doug Burgum, the Republican North Dakota governor, and also J.D. Vance, the Republican senator of Ohio. Marco Rubio, the senator from Florida, also high on that list. But specific to this debate, I think this is really a unique opportunity right now because, as you know, Faith, there are a lot of Americans who either haven't really engaged in this process or remain undecided, may even be considering a third party pick right now if they don't care for either Trump or Biden. This is their chance to see the two side by side. I think that means there's going to be a lot of tune in right now to see how Joe Biden does when he's on stage. No teleprompter, a chance to speak directly to the American people. Donald Trump, how disciplined is he? Can he focus on the message he's hoping to get across? His allies are hoping that's the case instead of venting some of the grievances that he has done throughout many of his campaign rallies on the road here. So there's also some new rules that are going to be in place when we're there in Atlanta watching this debate, Faith, as well. In particular, one that I think will be interesting is that they're going to be employing a mute button here, which means when it is not a candidate's turn to speak, their microphone will be off. Does that benefit Donald Trump? Does it help Joe Biden? You remember Biden 4 years ago saying to Donald Trump, "Will you shut up, man?" They're hoping to avoid a situation like that when things get going on Thursday night.
It is certainly setting up to be very heated. Peter, we want to ask you this. What do you think we can expect to see from both sides? Of course, we're expecting some attacks from both Biden and Trump. What are you expecting to see on Thursday?
Well, I think what's interesting is I think both sides want Americans to see the other person as they say they are. The Biden folks want Americans to see, excuse me, Trump being Trump. They view him, they cast him as an unhinged felon. The Trump folks want Biden to be seen by Americans as they describe it, a man who is physically and mentally unfit to serve another 4 years. And I think those are sort of the two overarching storylines here. There are going to be a lot of topics and policies certainly that they focus on as well. Immigration, a key issue. The economy has obviously seen improvement since Joe Biden came into office, but inflation remains a real challenge. The economy and rising prices or high prices, a real concern that he's going to have to address because that's impacted a lot of people at the kitchen table here. And of course, there's the topic of reproductive rights, which has played such a dramatic role in the last set of midterms and in some of the early states having already voted in the primaries here. So we're going to be watching all of that policy and a bit of the personality, as it were, when the two are side by side on Thursday.
Well, Peter Alexander, thank you so much for giving us your insight into this. Meet the Press airs at 10 right after 11 Alive Weekend Morning News. Peter, thank you again.